And here in the 23rd episode, we will make a little exercise. Again, we will use classes like we just learned in the previous movie here, and just to try to get it a bit more in. And we will use classes, and we will build a small quiz where there are questions, and it's like a multiple choice with 3 possible answers for each question. And we will keep track of the score as well, so that at the end, when you have gone through all the questions, it will tell you how many points you got out of the maximum available number of points. Hey and welcome here. I'm Torkild Brunsnes, and this is Python Learning by Doing. I strongly believe that learning by doing, that's the way that works the best. It is for me, I can tell you. So try to follow these chapters here, and do what I'm showing on the screen. Follow it on your own computer, and when you have gone through all the different chapters, I promise you will be an excellent programmer. Well, let's grab a cup of coffee, and then let's just get going. So to make this quiz here, the first thing I've done is to create 2 files. There's my app files, my app_question.py, and there's another file called question.py. So in the app question.py, that's the one we will be working in first, I make a list with all my questions. So here's the question prompts. That's the ones that will be presented to the user. They will be asked these questions one by one. First, the first question you can see, I start with the question prompts equals, and then the sharp brackets. That's a list. And you can see they're separated by comma, each question. And the first question is, what is pi? And then we put a new line in, a line shift, and then A, 3.14. Option B in a new line is 3.28. Option C in a new line is 3.04. And then we put 2 line shifts in after that. And then comes the next question. So these are the questions the user will be prompted one by one. So I can put a little comment in here and say, this here, that's a list of questions. So as you can see here, we used a list. Next, we will go over to the questions, the question.py file. And this is where we have our class. So you can see here, we have defined a class. I'll just make a line change, because we'll put a comment in here and say this here is the class. That's where we use the class. And what you can see here is that we have a class called question, and inside that class we have a function. And here we define the class. We definitely have 2 parameters here in this class. We have prompts and we have answers. So we will prompt something with options, and then people give their answers. These are the 2 things we have in our class. Next, we will go over to the app, again, the app file. Now we have defined our class, and now we will call it in here. So here, from question, import question. The file is called question.py, and the class is also called question. So we remember, the first is the file, the second is the class. And here we have another list. So that list here is the question prompts, and it's question prompt 0 for index 0, And remember, that was from the other list up here. That's our first list. So the first one here, until the comma, that's index 0. The next is index 1, and then index 2. So we simply prompt for these questions here. And what we have here next, you remember over from this one here, we have the prompt, and then we have the answer. We go back to the question file. So we have the prompt first, and then we have the answers. So all these here will be the correct answers to these questions we have in the list above. So what happened here, if we put a comment on it, is we import of the class. That's what we did. And then we made new, or not new, but we can say list with questions and answers. They get combined here. The next that happens here is that we actually make a function now. That's our actual part of the program that runs the quiz. So, this one here. So, function to run the quiz. And that's a function here. And it's called run test. And it starts with a score of 0 because we keep track of the score. So we can say we have a score counter. And then we have if conditions. And you can see here, for every question in the list of questions, the answer equals the input we get from the question prompt. And if the answer equals the question answer, and that's the ones we have up here. If the answer equals the question answer, then the score increases by 1. We started having it by 0 up here, but then we increase it by 1. And then we print, you got, and then a string, because we want it as a text here when we print it. We got, you got, and then we print how many points they get, out of, that's a slash, and then the length of the question list. That's simply how many entries do we have in the question list. And we have 3. You remember that? Our question list up here, there's 1, 2, 3 questions. So the length of the question list is 3. So you get a certain number out of 3 correct. That's what it will print. If score equals 3, then it will say, congratulations, you answered everything correct. You are a genius. Else if the score is 2, then it will print, try again, you can do better. Else, awful, you had everything wrong. So that's basically how it works. That's a full program. So let's try to run it. And see, the first thing here it will answer, it will ask, what is pi? And let's try to say 3.14, which is the correct answer. Then it already said, oh, let me say here, 3.14. What did I say here? Oh, I typed 3.14. Oh, I start over here. What is pi? I have to answer A, B, or C. So let's say A. And now it says you got 1 correct. Then let's say where is Mombasa? Let's say Europe, which is wrong, so we still have one correct. And what is 1 meter in inches? And we try to say A. And then it says you got 1 out of 3 correct. Awful, you had everything wrong. That is not correct. So there's a little bit we have to change here. So if the score is 1 or is 3, print this. If score is 2, print, try again, you can do better. If score is 1, then it has to print this here. Yeah, and we really don't want to print that, because the first time we run through, it will have to look at how many runs we have done as well. So let's delete this here, because that's not good. So we take these here away, because that doesn't work really. Because before we have the final result, it shouldn't really write anything. So let's delete those here. Yeah, we can take all this. Okay, let's try again. What is pi? And let's answer here. We say A. And then it says, where is Mombasa? And we say C for Africa. And what is 1 meter in inches? And we say C again. And then it will tell me you got 3 out of 3 correct. And we can try to run it again here. And we can say, what is pi? And we say B. Oh, need to type it here. And we can say Mombasa. We can say it's in Europe. So we say B. And 1 meter is, we say C. And it told me here you got 1 out of 3 correct. So now the program works here. So we have made a little quiz here that both knows the questions and the correct answers, and it also keeps track of our score here at the bottom. Yeah, and the last little thing that is worth mentioning is that what we have here, that's actually a for loop. So we keep answering questions until we have gone through all our questions. So for all questions in the list of questions. So that's actually a for loop we have here. So let me just show you the entire file here. Scroll up to the top and you have a chance just to pause it if you want to try to type in the same. So this here is the app_question.py. That's the main file. And then I'll switch over to the class file. That's where we have the class definition. That concludes this chapter of Python Learning by Doing. Make sure that you follow all the following chapters and go through the entire series. Also make sure to hit both the like and the subscribe buttons, because that would help me to keep creating programs like this. So thank you for doing that. And here after this there will be a link on the screen, and that will be to the next episode in this series of 26 videos. So take another cup of coffee and get ready for the next episode.